Hello, everybody. Is it Wednesday?
It's Thursday.
Dang it, I missed Wednesday.
Well, it's Friday Junior.
Brandon opened the show. He didn't give us the hump day, so I'm not going to be able to do it, but I can go ahead and say it's Friday Junior. We have a really cool show today. Hopefully, Stak will be joining us later on in the show. Brandon is still in Vegas, so he's going to be tapping in from the West Coast. Yes, Corey, the West Coast. Vegas is in the West Coast. We learned that this week, right?
I guess.
We did. We learned that they are on West Coast time. But if you didn't know, I'm actually Nicole Moss. We got Corey in the cut. We got Woo out West, who's actually Woo walking around the studio right now, making sure our cameras are good. BC in the back, Mander Legend. And it's our last show for the week, but also we got a big fight that we have to discuss, right?
Huge one.
A huge fight. So hopefully Stak, like I said, can join us and tap in. Brandon happens to be in the city that is hosting this huge fight. So we will tap in with him. There he goes, Brandon Marshall. And let's get it started. So what's going down, Corey? What's the news of the day?
Yeah, we got some news of the day as always. And I want to talk about Jaylen Brown because, we talked about him the other day. He signed, a supermax deal of $304 million, and that actually made him the richest NBA player in history.
A whole lot of cash.
Right, a whole lot of cash. But look at this. Listen to this caveat in his contract. He will receive on July 1st of each year of his contract $7,777,777. He said he wanted to do that to symbolize his number 7, but also his foundation juice. So it's I thought that was pretty cool. Isn't that like a pretty cool deal that he got in there?
So let me get this right. So he's going to receive the rest of his contract annually, a different date, but specifically on July 1st of every year, he's going to receive this dollar amount.
Yeah.
So he's getting paid twice a year with the contract.
Exactly. And they said that's not the typical way of doing it. He's actually a unique individual in that sense because I'm not sure. I think they said he's also the first to actually ask or require of that in his contract. Because typically, it's paid on a 12-month basis. He's getting it paid on a 6-month basis from what I read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know in basketball how they typically approach these things, but in football, it's a common practice for teams, organizations to get creative and do wild things like this. The San Diego Chargers, now the Los Angeles Chargers, for so many years used to do cool things with their guys as far as payout or some type of, small little incentive that is just quirky and wild. So this is common practice in the NFL. So it's pretty cool to see how he creatively sat back and did this. This was dope.
Sure was.
Yeah, JB is like that though. Like I'm lucky enough to call him a friend of mine, and he's super just like he's always thinking just outside of the box. He's just very much just goes against the grain. Does his own thing, marches to the beat of his own drum, much like a Kyrie. But this is really cool. Like I'm big on numerology. I don't know if do you guys believe in like numerology or not?
Yeah, what does 777 mean? What is it?
Well, lucky 7, but everyone has like their angel numbers. Everybody has their numbers that if you believe in numerology, like that are tied to, your time here on earth. That's some people believe 1111, some people believe 333, and it usually like the science
711 even backdoor Lil Joe.
But the voice of God. But it also like the way that you help to like identify your angel number, the way that it goes is it's a number you see frequently in many different parts of your life. So maybe you wake up the same time every day, or maybe like you go and get a receipt from the store and it's 1111 is your exact dollar amount. It's a number that just seems to constantly follow you throughout your life. And they say that's your angel number, if you believe in stuff like that.
No, that's
I like really the 1111 for the time.
I always like try to catch 11.
Wish myself a good day or something like that.
Yeah, but if 1111 is your angel number, like you'll see it constantly. Like one time, it's a true story. November 11th, I woke up 11:11. I went to Walgreens. I have pictures of it in my phone because no one ever believes me. I went to Walgreens. My exact dollar amount was 11:11. $11.11.
You did that on purpose.
No.
You did that on purpose.
No, how would I possibly do that on purpose?
She juked the tax system.
It was true. I saw 11.11 at least 4 or 5 times in one day on November 11th. It was actually the craziest thing.
What'd you say? Walmart, Walgreens. You went there. Okay.
How did I do the math in my head, Brandon? We all know I'm not good at math.
It's easy. 7% sales tax. So
I can't do that in my head, Brandon. I'm not that good at math. I promise you, I was not doing the math in my head. I'm not that good at math. We got Stak in the building. I see him.
What's up, Stak?
What's going on, boss?
How y'all doing?
We haven't seen you in forever. You've been moving and grooving all over the world. What's going on?
God is good.
Sure is.
That's right.
All
the time.
Yeah.
Hold on, time out. You talked about Stak moving around the world. How about Stak hits me in Miami like, yo, B, whoop, whoop, whoop on something else. But it's like, yo, cool, that's dope. You know, I'm always here for you. But, bro, you're not going – I can't get the invite to dinner?
You wasn't there. I knew you wasn't there, so stop.
What you mean you knew? How'd you know? How did you know I wasn't there?
Because I talked to 2 of your assistants that helped me get the reservation before I called you.
Ooh.
Okay, all right. Just making sure.
That's how I know you
bro,
wasn't there.
in the city. You ain't.
Well,
I knew you
listen.
wasn't there, bro.
Okay, you get
Stak has been nice enough to join us right before he has to catch a flight. So let's go ahead and we're gonna rework the show a little bit. We'll put news of the day later in the show, and we're gonna go ahead and dive into all the stuff that we want to talk about with Stak, including this upcoming fight starting Saturday, coming up on Saturday. So go ahead, Corey, tee us up.
Well, look, Stak, the time is here, right? The Errol Spence and Crawford fight is this weekend. But I want to start with saying, too, I saw on social media you made the respectable decision to not attend the fight. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Be
but
honorable.
The honorable.
That's the word, honorable.
Honorable decision, right? To not attend the Errol Spence fight, and you're actually going to go and attend the Gilly Fest. Is that right?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and I'll do it for any one of y'all, you know, and I want somebody to do that for me if I'm going through some time where I need support. Yeah, it's the biggest fight in our generation. I would love to be there, but like I said, I take pride in my brotherhood and being a good friend, being my brother's keeper. So I'm going to go down there and try to just keep his spirits high, lift him up. But also, I'm having dinner with Cool Boy Steph tonight because I want to lift his spirits too. He took a tough loss 2 days ago in a boxing match out there in Japan. So it's a full circle. I'm able to go out there and help my brothers, you know, kind of cheer them up and just be there for them.
Love that.
That's a great dude. I keep telling y'all, man, Stak is like the best dude in the world.
Trying to tell you.
Appreciate
just
it.
like Wu said, man.
Seriously.
Real one. Nonetheless, though, I mean, you still are boxing, you know, Mr. Showtime himself. So we still want to get your thoughts on the fight, right? You know, I don't know if you have, Ashley or Brandon, but I've been following up the episodes that Showtime's been releasing, really leading up to the fight. Man, how's this going to go down? How's this going to take place?
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Whoa. Before we dive into this fight that Stak deemed as the greatest fight of our generation, I want to push back there. Stak, you're absolutely insane. You're out of your mind for you to say that this is the biggest fight in our generation. Is it a huge fight? Absolutely. Could it go down as the best fight of the year? Absolutely. Could it potentially go down as one of the best fights of the century? Absolutely. But Stak, Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather was bigger than this.
I
disagree. Floyd for Pacquiao. Pacquiao was done with Floyd.
Yeah, Pacquiao was at the end of his career when Mayweather fought him.
Their career.
Yeah.
Pacquiao's still fighting, so we can't.
Yeah, but not at his prime. Not at his prime. He's not fighting at his prime level.
Tim Bradley.
Tim Bradley was an up and coming stud. See. This is the problem in boxing. Nowadays, in Stak, you don't think like this, right? A boxer lose 1 or 2, they're done, right? Everybody's going after this big egg, this big zero, right? I got to be undefeated. But it's still respectable. You're still a legend and a champ if you go out there and you lose 1, 2, or 3 fights. We've seen it in the past, some of our greatest fighters.
I agree with that, and that's what a lot of boxers are starting to do now, because the only way to get the big paydays is to risk your O. You know, and a lot of guys starting to understand that, and that's what I like about it. They're making the fights. You know, Errol fighting Bud, Devin Haney fighting Lomachenko. You know, all these fights is good for our generation. You know, even you finna see. I want to see Tank fight somebody. I want to see Tank fight Haney. So all these guys are making these fights, bro, and that's what's good Brandon, that these guys are making these fights because nobody's really worried about their zeros no more. They're worried about those big paydays. And that's what's going to create the generational wealth, not the belts.
So
how do you see?
Oh, go ahead.
How do you see Saturday playing out? You know, you're not going to be there, but you know, you've been one of those guys that transitioned into broadcasting, not only in basketball but now in boxing. So it is a big deal for you not to be there. You know, very honorable. Not being in the building.
I'm missing money. But you know, I don't like missing money.
Right. But walk us through how Saturday's going to play out in your mind.
For me, you're going to see in Bud Crawford, you're going to see probably the highest level of boxing, counter-punching, just being ready to scratch. You're going to see that from Bud. He's going to hit Errol with punches that Errol's never been touched with before because Bud is so precise. On the flip side, Bud is going to get hit with power that he's never thought was possible, right? And that's what he does. He comes with five-punch combination. He try to break your will. I think both of these guys being at the top of their game right now, we can see a quick fight or we can see a beat down for 8 rounds. This is a fight where you're going to be on the edge of your seat because both of these guys have knockout power. Both of these guys at the top end are the best. So you can't say it's going to go 12 rounds. You can't say Errol's going to stop him in 6. You're going to sit on the edge of your seat the whole fight because anything can happen.
Right. So for me, Ashley, Corey, this is how I see it. I think it's going to be a draw. And this was hard for me. I spent Tuesday, half of my day Tuesday out here in Vegas, laying on my bed on YouTube, watching all of their fights, right? And some of their greatest highlights. And it's so even. Both of them are technical. Both of them have, the skill and the sweet science, okay? So when you look at age, they're getting long in the tooth. You have Errol at 33, Bud at 35. They say that Errol is the bigger fighter, the stronger fighter. But when you look at reach, Bud has him on reach. Bud is super smart, super technical. I see this going down as a draw. They both come from the gutter. They both pulled themselves up from nothing. So they got that dog in them. So I truly believe what's going to happen is it's going to go 12 rounds. It's going to be a draw, and that's what I'm betting. I wish I had $100,000 to bet. Maybe Stak, you can loan me some money. I'll be able to give it to you in 18 months. I don't know if that will do for you. If you can lend me some money for 18 months. You
just won $100,000.
Yeah.
No. That was Izzy. But then I came back with Tank. But Tank was the favorite, so the payout wasn't great, right? And then also you got bills, bro. Like things come up, trips came up. I just got back from Europe. I got back from Africa. That money gone. So what I have right now, Stak, is 20 to 25,000. I'm betting the draw. I would love to make another 100,000 bets, so I need 75K, but I won't be able to give it back to you for 12 to 18 months.
Hey B, whatever I got, and I can get it to you, you got it, my brother. I'll never tell you no.
Okay, my guy. That's what I love. That's Stak, baby. Ashley, you need to make your way out this weekend. I keep telling you, the greatest sporting event that you'll ever experience is a boxing match, especially a fight of this caliber. I don't agree with Stak, Ashley. It's not the greatest fight of our generation, but it's going to be close.
She has a softball hangover.
I'm cool.
I'm jealous. She got to play baseball in the Yankee Stadium, and I didn't get invited. I'm kind of jealous of that.
Stak, I would have invited you if I knew you were in Miami.
That's cool. It's cool. Hey, I even hit CC. CC ignored me.
No way. Oh, see, you got to take that up with CC. If you were there, though, I would have had you on my squad. We would have stood a chance. All the athletes were on the other team. Rudy Gay, all those guys were on one side. Johnny Damon.
Rudy was there.
Huh? What'd you say, Brandon?
How did you play?
Rudy was there.
Rudy did actually pretty well. He got to first base, but then second base, I think he got out. But he was like, I'm not going to stretch. I'm an athlete. And we were joking like, all right, you say that before you pull a hamstring.
Getting up there.
Right.
Right. You getting up there in age, Rudy. You ain't a spring chicken no more.
Hey, well, Stak, I know Brandon sees this fight ending in a draw. Let's say there is a winner that comes out on top. Who do you want to see the winner of this fight next?
No question. I'm a Texas boy, man. I'm a fan of both of those guys. I got respect for both of those guys, being at the top of the sport. But Errol's my guy. I've been knowing Errol for a while. I've been knowing Derek James, the Charlos. They're all in the same camp. So that's kind of like family to me. So I definitely want to see Errol raise all those belts and take the win Saturday night.
Plus, he's a Cowboys fan. We stick with our own people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's right.
Cowboy fans stick together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't gotta know much about boxing. I don't even have to know much about stats. But I roll with the Cowboys fan. I roll with the Dallas boy. That's who my money's on.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but do you see, you know, who might be their matchup, who might be waiting on them, on the winner of this fight?
I don't even want to go there because you know what I'm saying, we're gonna enjoy this fight, then we're gonna enjoy the Canelo and Charlo fight.
You're right.
Charlo and Errol will never fight each other, so I want to see both of these guys win. So I don't know how that's gonna play out.
Fair enough. I will listen. I want to talk about some other boxers. I mean, the name already came up, Devin Haney, and who he may be fighting next. But there was an exchange between Shakur Stevenson and George Kambosos on Twitter. Stak, did you get a chance to watch the Kambosos and Maxie Hughes fight?
You know I did.
Yeah. So, and you know there was some controversy in that fight. So look, this is how everything started on Twitter. So, theboxingscene.com tweeted, Kambosos is hoping for Lomachenko's showdown next, right? And we know how the Devin Haney and Lomachenko fight had went, but Shakur Stevenson replied to it saying, "Cuz nobody want to see Loma stop you." And then to that tweet, George Kambosos replied, "Cuz go take the 25%. What's wrong with y'all? What you're trying to do, I really already done." I almost want to stop there though, Stak, because you know what was news a while back was the offer that Devin Haney proposed to Shakur Stevenson. You think he should have took that one?
Absolutely not.
No.
Shakur knows in that weight class, he's the best boxer in that weight class. Tank has the power and the ring IQ, and Devin Haney has the size and the jab.
Yeah.
So he understands he's the best boxer all around in that class. So there's no way he should take that. He'll run through Kambosos. Nobody want to see him fight.
Yeah.
Really, nobody want to see Teofimo fight. But hey, I guess Bob Arum is his guy. But really, I think Lomachenko is I want to see him fight Devin Haney again because I think he won.
I agree.
And Kambosos needs to be talking about fighting this guy again. He just fought because I don't think he won that fight either. You know, when you fight in Australia, you get that home cooked.
And were you surprised? Go ahead.
Did I hear you correctly, Stak? Sorry, Corey.
No, go ahead.
Did you say Shakur is the best fighter in that division over because Tank and Haney?
Shakur is the more pure boxer, defensively and offensive wise. Power. Tank has the power. He can box, but he has a high ring IQ. Devin Haney is the bigger one out of all three of them, and he has the best jab. That's the best way to explain those three.
Rank the three. Well, you know, you're Bob Arum.
I'm going Tank, Shakur, Haney.
Okay.
Tank,
all right.
Shakur,
we're on the same page.
Haney. Yeah. I think we all are on the same page. That we all are. Now, do you respect Haney's decision though to vacate and move up? 'Cause, I mean, that's what it's looking like. I'm not saying that's his decision as of today, but it's looking like he's going to vacate and probably move up. Do you think they should have restructured something and figured out that fight, or do you respect his decision to go up?
It makes sense. This would make sense. Your biggest payday is to fight Tank. So before you move up, just go ahead and fight Tank. Just go ahead and fight Tank and risk it. Both of y'all risking y'all. Both of y'all gonna have the biggest payday ever. You know what I'm saying? And that'll be the great look. I mean, fight Shakur is a good fight as far as entertaining people want to see. But the payday for him is to fight Tank. He knows that. Everybody knows that. And that's the fight we really want to see.
Dang. When are we gonna get that one though? Like who are we gonna see first? Are we gonna see Tank fight Haney first? Are we gonna see Shakur Stevenson fight Haney first?
We gonna see Haney fight Teofimo first.
Okay. And who you think we're gonna see Shakur Stevenson fight next?
I think Shakur needs to fight Isaac Cruz.
Oh.
Pitbull.
And you know, and Tank fighting someone off the street, you know, because he just, you know, came home, so he can't go right into Shakur or Haney. So he gonna get a little warm up one. And he gonna fight some slap.
Yeah.
Run through some slap.
And it might be Esau because Isaac Cruz Pitbull, he fighting on undercard. Bud and Errol this weekend. He's fighting the first fight under the main event. So
Isaac Cruz is.
Yeah, Isaac Cruz is. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the first fight before the main event.
I know, Corey. You want to talk a little bit more about some of this recent stuff, but let me ask Stak this question because we only have 10 more minutes or so with him. Stak, is boxing back? UFC have dominated the space over, I would say, the last 5 to 7 years. Because also in September we have the Charlo brother. Is it Jamal? Jermaine, I get them mixed up at times.
Mel fight.
So you have Mel.
Supposed to fight. Mel took the fight for him.
Right. So you got Mel and Canelo. Right. That's a huge fight. That's going to be super interesting. That's happening in September. So is boxing back?
Yes, boxing is back. Just think about it, B. The winner of that fight can have 8 belts. It's not for Charlo's belts, it's for Canelo's belts. So if Charlo wins, he can have 8 belts. That's crazy. We've never seen that. Even we finished the undisputed with Errol and Bud. We haven't seen that in a while. So boxing is definitely back. You got so many stars in boxing. You know what I mean? You got so many, all the big name fighters fighting each other. Then you have a lot of fighters in boxing now, B, that have social media presence. It's not just Tank down. You know what I'm saying? You got Errol, you got the Charlo twins, you got a lot of guys, Devin Haney, guys that got social media presence now. First it was just Tank and Ryan Garcia. They were really running away with it. Now guys are starting to catch up. So guys understand, B, to answer your question, boxing is definitely back because guys understand that in order to make those big paydays, you got to risk that O.
So salute to you, bro, for making the right decision and you know, passing up on this what you call, you know, generational fight to go support Gilly. Thoughts and prayers to Gilly and his family. They lost his son. You know, my question for you is this: can you help Ashley and I out in September for the Charlo Canelo fight? Like, let's lay it out for her. She's never been to a boxing event. You know, you're the king of Vegas right now. Let's set everything up and let's give her the ultimate experience.
Well, B, I'm glad you said that because now we can get on it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Espinosa and let him know how many we need, B.
So I you know, me, I just need 2. Okay. Ashley probably, you know, she may need 2. She might bring somebody, right? So you got 2 for me, 2 for Ashley.
Locked in. It's locked in. Say less.
But Stak, we need to lay out the whole thing. We talking about we going to Delilah's, we going to Carbone. What restaurants are we going to? Suited and booted. You know what I'm saying? The whole. So we need to really lay it out.
We definitely suited and booted. We staying at the Win, so our homeboy Jasmine can coordinate our whole weekend with the clubs and the restaurants and all that. We're gonna let Jasmine handle all that. All we gotta do is show up. But we definitely suited and booted to the fight, B.
Okay, great. Hey, I might need your help.
Are y'all gonna lose me like the guy in The Hangover? How they left him on the roof?
You won't let that happen.
If you lose me, there are people that will come looking for me.
I'm gonna be on the roofies.
Actually, I done been with Stak in the Barclays Centers and some big fights, Wilder, et cetera, et cetera. I've been out with Stak in Vegas. That's the last thing that's gonna happen. How Stak roll, everybody come in, everybody come out. Like Stak taking care of us.
Exactly.
Well, before we let Stak go, I want to get his take on the Bronny James situation. LeBron James just put out a statement the first time since Bronny James experienced cardiac arrest. He said, quote, "I want to thank the countless people sending my family love and prayers. We feel you. I'm so grateful. Everyone doing great. We have our family together, safe and healthy, and we feel your love. We will have more to say when we're ready, but I wanted to tell everyone how much your support has meant to us all." So thankfully, Bronny is doing much better, at least what based on this statement says. But diving into this a little bit deeper, I mean, Stak, we are seeing athletes, young athletes, at an alarming rate. It seems every year the percentage gets higher and higher, experiencing cardiac arrest in a multitude of different sports. I mean, it's frightening because when you think of young athletes, you think of being able to play basketball for 8 hours a day and, you know, it has no wear and tear on your body. And we're in a situation where things are a lot different. I mean, what do you take away just from that percentage? Or that part of it, not necessarily the Bronny James part of it.
It sucks, man. That shit makes me super emotional, man, because I have boys. And, you know, I'm going to Philly this week to see Gilly, to, you know, help him mourn the losing his son, man, and to see Bron. Like, it just sucks, man, to see people have to go through that. When I saw that, I just instantly cried, man. Like I said, I got my own kids, and I know how hard he worked for his family. And the last thing you want to do is see your child go through something like that. Last thing you want to do is bury your child. So I just been praying for the James family. I hate that he got to go through that because I don't wish that on nobody because I know I lose my mind if something like that happened to one of my boys.
Well, like I said,
it
it seems that Bronny is doing better. He is out of ICU, which, various doctors have spoke on this, is a sign of optimism. Now, everyone wants to know if he'll be able to play, and that's, I feel like, not even relevant. The fact is he's alive. He's okay. The USC team medical staff reacted quickly, and like Brandon said yesterday when speaking on the Damar Hamlin situation and the comparisons, the right training is everything, and those few minutes are so instrumental and so important. And I feel like everybody trying to dissect whether Bronny will be able to play and LeBron being able to play with him is completely missing the point. The point is that he's here, and the James family will make the best decision for their family and for their child. And I'm just happy that Bronny is on the other side of that, and he's going through the healing process, and wherever that process may take him, he is alive and well, and that's really all that matters. Brandon?
Right. My final thoughts on this is, we definitely want to be respectful for the family's wishes and give them the privacy and not really dive into these debates. And just like you guys said, and Stak showing the emotion here, that it's all about life. It's not about ball. It's not about anything else. When you're in these type of situations, that's the only thing you think about is just like, throw all that stuff away. You just think about family, you think about the relationship. LeBron James will give up everything, all the rings, chasing Michael Jordan, MVP trophies, all the money for his son, right?
That's right.
That's the reality. But also the reality is this, I will say this, right? We've seen this before. You have Sharif O'Neal who dealt with this. He had open heart surgery. He had to sit out a whole year at LSU. Seeing Shawnee O'Neal and Shaquille O'Neal by his bedside, they went through this, and now he's on the other side of that. He is, fighting for his position in the NBA. We had Damar Hamlin die on the field last year, and now he's back. We saw that really emotional video of him running out the tunnel first day of training camp. So there are some, some examples out there, some cases out there where we're seeing our guys make full recoveries because of our medical staffs reacting quickly and correctly. So, right now it's all about his health, but I am looking forward to Bronny one day taking the court again, and that's going to be super emotional. And these situations, last thing I would say, Ashley, Stak, Corey, these situations humanize us as athletes, right? Because so many people and fans for years have put us on these pedestals of gladiators and these superheroes, and the way they talk about us, cover us, is unhealthy. And so the last couple of years, we're starting to see the athlete be more humanized.
Absolutely. Well, Stak, I know you have a flight to catch. You're a busy man, but thank you so much for taking time out to join us in between.
Love you. Absolutely.
Man, I love y'all too, man. I appreciate it. Sorry I got to run, man.
No worries.
No problem, Stak. Appreciate it as always.
I'll send you my account. I'll send you my account info, the wire. I don't know if it's 75K or 80K I need, but I'm right around 25,000 on this one, okay? Bet in the draw. I'm betting the draw, Stak.
Bro, just let me know. Send it right over.
My dog. Travel safe, bro.
Love y'all, man. I'll holler at y'all later.
Bye.
Take it easy. Safe flight.
All right, so.
How do you not love that guy?
For real.
Right?
He's a real one, like we said.
Stand-up guy.
So I guess now we can go ahead and double back to news of the day, and then go back into daily route word on the tweet from where we left off with Stak.
Nah, let's do it.
Zach.
That's worse than Brandon calling him by his government name. You see that? So Corey, what is the news of the day? Go ahead.
Well, listen, this has been a topic all week, right? Because we saw the Saudi Arabian team Al Hilal offer Kylian Mbappe a $775 million contract. Well, it's come out that he declined it. He doesn't want to meet with representatives.
Don't say it like that.
I told you guys this when I was in the New York studio. I said he is not taking that money. He's 24 years old. He's 10 years younger than Ronaldo. Ronaldo's on the tail end of his career when he took that money. Mm-hmm. He has the opportunity to play for Real Madrid. That's where he wants to go. He is not risking risking a year in Saudi Arabia unnecessarily just for a payday. He's not doing it. He doesn't have to.
Listen, Corey,
$750 million.
He doesn't have to. He's Kylian Mbappe. Like,
let me say this is we call it Baby Friday, Little Friday.
Friday Jr.
I don't have
Jr.
the capacity to go back and forth with Ashley. Friday Jr. I'm not going to go back and forth with Ashley on this, but this is what I would say. Ashley, LeBron James, Patrick Mahomes, when it's all said and done, career earnings will be somewhere around $500 and something million. This is absolutely something that any player should look at. Why? Because it's 1 year, $700 million. So yes, he is 24. So you take the $700 million plus the $500-600 million that he'll make, plus maybe even more off of the pitch. We're talking about this guy having $2 billion in career earnings when it's all said and done. The way that he get there is by taking a 1 year deal. I think they absolutely looked at this. Now, is it honorable for him to say no to this because of some of the political things going on, some of the humanitarian things that's going on across the world? Absolutely. But you definitely look at it, right? Like, sports has always been something that's broken through politics and whatever's going on in the world. How many times have we gone back to the beginning of time, the Olympics? How many times have we still sent our athletes over to some of these places? We just did it in Qatar for the World Cup, and you still see athletes still going over there. Our countries are still sending our athletes over there and supporting, and you go back to the 60s, the 40s. This has always happened. Sports is something that lives in the center of everything, and it really isn't connected to anything but sports. Sports galvanize. Sports brings people together. That's what I would say to this, and that's why athletes in this type of position should look at it.
The World Cup is a little bit different because, yes, while the environment wasn't ideal, you weren't playing for the country. You were playing and representing your country in the World Cup. We're talking about him going over there and playing for Saudi Arabia. And also, we're not talking about him foregoing that to play for a team in the MLS. No shade to Messi, but the MLS is not what the Premier League is. It's just not. We're talking about him leaving PSG to go and play for Real Madrid. That Real Madrid dynasty will not end. Like, it is one of the best teams in the world. He is in a prime position to go ahead and be the next GOAT of the sport, to win multiple chips. Yes, the money up front is ideal and it's sensational and it's polarizing. But when you think about the long game, he is going to win. And the money that he is foregoing, I am a firm believer he will come close to making that in his lifetime in the sport. I do.
No way. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Tyler Perry, Jay-Z, who billionaires, trillionaires, they'll look at you and tell you it's impossible. It's damn near impossible for anybody to go out there in 1 year and make $760 million or whatever it was. The NFL teams are bringing in $600 million a year. Think about that. This is a $10 billion industry, 32 teams, and they're bringing in an average, roughly $500 to $600 million a year. One player making more than an NFL team? Are you kidding me?
But Brandon, you're also foregoing the fact that he's already worth $200 million. His contract with Real Madrid is probably going to be 2 times what he was making with PSG. You can fact check me on this, Woo, but he has multiple deals with high-end fashion houses. Not to mention, I believe PSG gave him stake in PSG. So he's still making money from the team even when he's not on it. He is going to be fine financially. I promise you. He's going to be just fine. 24 years old. He can probably play the sport for another 10 years, if not more, depending on health. And that's not counting all the things that he has his hands in outside of the sport. He's going to be just fine.
And listen, the last thing I'll say on this, Ashley, I agree with you. He will be fine. $700 million when it's all said and done compared to 1.5. He's still uber wealthy, and he'll continue to make money when it's done. This is a great place for athletes and for sports to be in. Athletes now becoming billionaires. This is a real thing. You have Michael Jordan. You have, I believe, LeBron James might be a billionaire, maybe a few others that's been able to do it in business. But for athletes to be in position to make $1 billion, $2 billion in career earnings on the pitch, on the court, on the field, that's a true blessing. We are chasing our dreams. We are doing something that we love. And to make this type of money is unbelievable. And hopefully, athletes like Mbappe and others, the Messis of the world, do things like what Jaylen Brown came out and said he did. He had his press conference, right? And I thought that was pretty cool. We talked about that earlier, but we really didn't dive into the other things that he said. He laid out a strategic plan on what he's going to invest in the community, the things that he wants to do, bringing Black Wall Street to Boston, closing a wealth gap in our communities, right? Like, he laid out what he wants to do with now becoming the richest and having the biggest deal the NBA has ever seen. So hopefully we have more athletes doing that, building up our communities, building up our people. So it's a great place to be in, and it was a great debate. And maybe we'll take it to our audience, and our audience can decide if you're on Ashley's side or my side.
Mbappe, I love what you did. I'm here for you. You got my support, bro.
Well, look, Brandon, you listed a couple billionaires in this conversation, right? One of them was Elon Musk, and that leads me to the next piece of news that we have. So Elon Musk and Twitter could potentially lose close to $20 billion after changing the logo of Twitter from the bird to the X. You might have noticed that, on Twitter if you've been, using it this week. But yeah, and a lot of people obviously have been rubbed the wrong way. They're just like, why? What was the reasoning for it? Well, Elon Musk on Twitter
he doesn't even know. Yeah, go ahead.
He gave his explanation here, believe it or not. He says Twitter was acquired by X Corp both to ensure freedom of speech and as an accelerant for X, the everything app. This is not simply a company renaming itself, but doing the same thing. The Twitter name made sense when it was just 140 character messages going back and forth like birds tweeting. But now you can post almost anything, including several hours of video. In the months to come, we will add comprehensive communications and the ability to conduct your entire financial world. The Twitter name does not make sense in the context, so we must bid adieu to the bird. Thoughts?
Not buying it. Next. I mean, he stripped down one of the things that I hear all the things that he added in terms of video and aspects, but he also took away something that was instrumental in Twitter, and that was the verification. It is now a free-for-all for misinformation. It's a free-for-all for people misleading others. Taking away the verification from legitimate journalists, from legitimate people within different industries has made the app almost just unusable, because you don't know what's real, you don't know what's false. The verification process in which that they said that they were going to go through all these steps to make sure that it was legitimate. People are buying check marks. People are getting this is a lesser version of it, but Draymond Green thought that Kevin Garnett was dissing him because an account with a verification put out a fake quote that Kevin Garnett didn't even say, and he took the bait. It's just
Twitter starting beef.
It's literally, I hear all the things that he's trying to add, but at the root of it, Twitter was supposed to be and was a groundbreaking tool for receiving and sharing information. And now that has completely changed because it is not able to be legitimized whether what's real and what's fake. And that is a huge problem.
Yeah.
So I'll say this, Ashley, well said. Ashley's the expert when it comes to Twitter. She does a phenomenal job. She has amazing engagement, and she's super active there. I don't know how the hell you do it, Ashley. I don't know where you find this time. Ashley, JP, the team always gets on me when it comes to Twitter. I have no clue what's going on there. Over the past 2 weeks, I have been a little bit more active. I haven't been tweeting, but I've been reading, I've been watching. And I am getting a lot of ideas. Corey, you're seeing, some of the things that I'm like, I want to talk about this on the show. A lot of that is coming from Twitter. So I'll lean towards Ashley, her commentary around, what made Twitter special, because I would say she's an expert there. I want to talk a little bit about the money, right? 20 billion, right? So that's what you said. Twitter could lose close to 20 billion after changing logo to the X. That doesn't matter. You guys got to understand, Elon Musk, money is not a real thing to him. There's a few people in this world where money is not a real thing. There's no paper. It's all like digital, right? Like, it's not even about what he has. It's about what the company is worth, what the company is bringing in. And we're talking about all of Elon Musk's business universe. He goes to banks. He's leveraged banks to say, look, I need $500 million. I need $1 billion. Why? Because he's borrowing against his future earnings or the company's future earnings. So for us to be thinking about 20 billion, I know that's big for us, but this is nothing to him. Remember how he even acquired Twitter. So Elon Musk will be fine. And I'm also confident that Twitter, X, whatever the hell they're calling it, it will be fine, right? Because everything has to evolve. Right? Things are changing every single day. They have to find a way to be competitive. And then also remember, Twitter wasn't really profitable. So Elon Musk is coming in as a businessman saying like, okay, it's cool. I hear you, Ashley. But at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line and monetization. And we haven't, the last regime hasn't done a great job of that. So I'm coming in, changing everything, and I'm going to make money. And I believe that Elon Musk get the job done.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see, right, Ashley?
For
but
sure.
Moving on, this is a very interesting piece of news here. Former U.S. intelligence David Grush confirms under oath that the government possesses UFOs and non-human bodies.
Duh.
Yo, are we getting closer and closer to really figuring out if we
I'm
have
just
aliens
saying,
here?
like,
This is a Black Mirror episode.
We've known this, though. Like, I know people like to, like, I've never been one to
Conspirize?
but I am a believer in aliens.
Conspirize.
I'm a believer in aliens for a multitude. I'm a believer in aliens for the simple fact that the science shows that each star is a sun to a different planet. Think of all the stars in the sky.
Each star, though?
Each star is a sun
goes.
to
Here
a
she
different
goes,
planet.
Ashley.
So
Yeah.
if you think
Here she
about
goes.
that logically,
We're so tiny in this universe.
and how big the
environmentalists-
universe and how big the universe actually is, and how much of it is unexplored. There is no possible way that we are the only living species in the universe of all the different universes, all the different of all the different galaxies in the universe, of all the unexplored territory of space. There's absolutely no possible way that we are the only human existence out there. We just have not explored, and vice versa, or maybe vice versa, they have explored and we just aren't aware. I am a full believer that at some point in the history of this country, alien contact has happened, and I'm just glad that someone finally said it.
Yo, I mean,
Go
ahead.
Ashley, did you go to school? I thought you went to school for journalism.
I did.
Or did you go for exploratory studies? Because when you talk about the environment, climate, and now we're talking about alien invasions. Like, what did you go to school for?
I went to school for journalism, and I minored in communications and political science, but I'm big into the environment. I'm big into space. I'm big into just all of those things. So I just research and watch documentaries on my free time, and I read books. And just from a logical standpoint, I don't know how you can know, and it's been a proven fact, that every star is a sun to a different planet, and there are multiple galaxies in this universe that have not been explored. Think about how long it took us to discover Pluto. And go and that, like, think of all the planets we haven't discovered. It'd be ignorant for like anybody to think, knowing that we are the only living species in the universe. It's just not true.
So the way I respond to this, it just seems like this is a woo type of conversation. So I'm going to back out and let Woo step forward and give his commentary.
So,
Let's go, Woo. You want to go toe to toe? We could do this.
No. But I actually have
All right,
a
let's do
theory
it.
that I believe in, which is that I think that the real space or like creatures are actually in the water. Because there's so many depths that we can't reach, and so many crazy looking creatures that come out of there. It might be two versions. It might be one in space, like you said, with the stars, and then the other underneath.
Right
Well, I do think, to be honest, I don't know if I would refer to them necessarily as aliens, because alien by definition is foreign, like not on Earth.
Foreign from the planet, yeah.
So technically those wouldn't be aliens,
Yeah.
but I do believe that there are a lot of prehistoric creatures that may
That
have
lie
survived various evolutions that live in the ocean, for sure. That's like
Yeah.
the deep sea where the submarines sank.
Living
The reason that we
time
haven't been
capsules.
able to explore that is how far deep it is. And also a lot of those animals and those creatures down there have adjusted to no light, to no food sources, to little to no, I said light. But they are things that have survived prehistoric times. They are things that have survived the Big Bang. There are things that have survived so many different eras of our planet. So I believe that. I don't know if I believe that they're aliens though, but I
don't know,
100%.
man. They look like
now,
aliens.
do I believe that aliens are short little green men with like little hats and stuff? No, that's not what I think aliens look
Yeah.
like. Do I think they look like Alien versus Predator? No. I do think though, maybe not. I'm not envisioning what it looks like, but I do know that life forms outside of ours exist. 100% I believe that.
Yeah.
100%.
This
Well, I'll
is
just call
this
them
is
non-human
this is
bodies.
what I want to say. I want to reset the show right now. Corey in the cut, Ashley Nicole Moss, our exploratory student of the century, Woo Out West, and we have Mander Legend and BC in the booth. And I can't wait for BC to start chiming in here. Once we have a bigger budget, we're going to make sure he has a camera set up and a mic. This is Paper Planet on Faction Talk Channel 103. Yeah, we changed the name to Paper Planet today because we're talking about all these wild topics and conspiracies. But this is Faction Talk Channel 103, Paper Planet, and we're here on YouTube. We just want to say thank you to everyone that rocks with us every single day. This is not easy for us to produce a show, come out and talk about these things every single day. So thank you for sticking with us and also putting in your comments and your suggestions, because it makes us better. It makes the show better. Back to you, Corey. Paper Planet. First episode of Paper Planet. Back to you.
well, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, I don't know. We're gonna go back to sports though. So that was it for news of the day. But we're gonna hop back on the timeline. Yeah,
I can talk about this alien thing all show.
Oh yeah, let's keep going.
Ashley loves it.
We should just have a day where we should have a day where the show is literally just about like different conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
we
And
can
talk
go
them
in.
down.
I watch Ancient. You watch Ancient Aliens? The show?
Ancient Aliens, yes.
We should totally do a show where we
Ancient
pull
Aliens.
we pull topics from Ancient Aliens and we just dive into them.
is that on like the History Channel or like
Yeah.
National
Yes.
Geographic?
It's a
Yeah, I know
History
they do
Channel.
a lot of alien shows on
Yeah,
History
yeah.
Channel. But yeah, no, let's.
So Corey, what we're learning about Ashley is this, right? I think she's a big Marvel fan.
I am. I'm a
it's
Marvel fan, DC fan.
So Marvel, DC. I don't even know what to classify this as. Like, what did you say you're into? The planet, climate change.
I'm an
What would you classify
environmentalist.
this as?
An environmentalist.
You're an environmentalist. She's a huge sports fan, right? Very interesting.
I'm a dork.
It's very interesting. Yeah,
I think people are very like, they look at my Instagram and they'll look at like the things that I do with my friends and like, oh, she's so cool. And I am, but I'm also a dork.
And I am.
It's called balance.
It's called
Right,
balance.
exactly,
Right.
It does seem. All right. Well, how about we get back to some? Well, honestly, I gotta address this. Dolphins. Jalen Ramsey carted off with an apparent leg injury.
Oh
In
no.
camp today, so definitely want to thoughts and prayers, not condolences because he's alive.
Yeah.
But thoughts and prayers to Jalen Ramsey, and hopefully he's all right. Definitely don't want him to go down. But
Sorry
as
for
I
that,
was saying,
Corey.
let's go back to the timeline. And we got something from Anthony Edwards. He was actually just he had made an appearance on Higher. I believe that's the publication. But ironically, this tweet comes from depressed Warriors fan. But what he did was spoke on the Warriors. Yeah, ironically, this tweet comes from depressed Warriors fan. But Anthony Edwards says, "I want to play the Warriors in the playoffs." We got a clip from it. Let's actually listen to the clip.
What are you looking forward to most of this upcoming season? Definitely going back to the playoffs and going further in the playoffs to go versus the Warriors. I want to play the Warriors. I want to get to the Warriors. Wherever they at, I want to get to them. Got you. Why the Warriors so much?
Uh,
I mean, because Draymond talks so much trash. That's pretty much the only reason.
Short clip, but I feel like there's a lot to talk about there, right? Like, one, how do we feel about the Timberwolves? But two, I want to know, like, because I think this is going to become a trend. Draymond, right? I think in the last year he might have built a few enemies. I don't know. That's just how I feel. But I wanted to ask you guys, do you think Draymond now kind of has a target on his back? So it's kind of a two-part, Timberwolves versus Warriors. Do you think maybe the question might be both teams. We don't know how the Warriors are going to look next year, but can the Timberwolves get back to the playoffs? How does that matchup look? But also, again, Draymond, like, do you think he might have a target on his back heading into next season?
A target on his back from whom?
You know, just really from players in general, right?
Which are we talking? Young players? Or are we talking his peers, like his fellow vets? Like, who are we talking about?
I think it could be both. I think it could be both. I'd say younger players would probably have more of a problem with Draymond, but
younger players, I don't think he's worried about. To be honest,
Draymond.
It's Draymond. You know what I mean? He's not worried about the rookies. He's not worrying about the under 24 dudes. He doesn't care. Mm-hmm. Now, if you were talking about his peers, vets, then I would say maybe.
Yeah.
But I think also they've been in the league long enough with Draymond to know his personality, to know how to deal with him, that I don't think it affects them the same way that it may affect the younger guys. Mm-hmm. So with that said, I don't know if I would say he's put a target on his back that he cares about. Like, is there a target on his back? Sure. Is it one that he really cares about? No. Mm-hmm. Like, you think he cares about that he's been on a Jordan Poole world tour and that Jordan Poole doesn't like him? He doesn't care. Like, he genuinely doesn't care. Yeah. Now, if this were a Kevin Durant and he was on a tour talking and bashing KD, then he probably would care, because KD would probably be the one to be like, yo, what's up? What's your problem? Like, take it out on him in a game, like, whatever. But they're all peers because they play in the same league. But there's tiers of peers, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
So I think that he knows his audience and he knows what tier he can go in on and knows what tier he can't go in on. Mm-hmm. He may be a loose cannon, but he's not dumb.
Right.
But he does seem to have a roster.
Yeah.
He has a roster that he circulates through.
Like, I'm looking at Sabonis. Maybe he stepped on Sabonis.
What's
Brooks,
Sabonis
he
going to
pushed
do to
him
him?
the basketball. He punched Jordan Poole. He about to make a roster of hate.
But he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it to fellow vet all-stars. He does it to the young boys. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly who he's picking on. That's why I said he's a loose cannon, but he's not dumb.
Well, to answer your question, Corey, I do think that he has a target on his back, and he's had a target on his back probably for 90% of his career. Once he got out, once he established himself as a champion, as a veteran, as a boss, he stepped into his own, right? And so this is who Draymond embraced. This is, who he is. It seems like on the court, off the court, but also players, athletes take on these like different personas and these different personalities. And Draymond wants to be the bad guy. Some guys enjoy this. And when you do that, it comes with, guys coming in every single night trying to, take your head off and really getting after you. So I think that Draymond's always had a target on his back, and he embraces it. That's why every single night, he's getting guys' best. And I think that it's younger guys. I think it's older guys. But like Ashley said, older guys, they've been around. They know. It's like, oh, that's just Draymond. It's like Lance Stevenson back in the day, right? It's like, oh, that's just Lance. Remember LeBron? He's blowing in LeBron's ear, and LeBron just smiles and laughs. It's similar to Pat Beverly. It's the same thing. Like, guys laugh at Pat. But I do push back on you a little bit, Ashley, when it comes to him not trying veterans. I think he will try a vet. I think he will try an all-star. Those all-stars are the ones. Yeah, I just think those all-stars are the ones that don't take him serious, right? It's like, it's that picture that we saw Lance Stevenson blowing in LeBron's ear and he laughs. Veterans are more savvier. They're not going to let people knock them off their pivot. They're not going to let guys get them out their game, right? They're just going to look through it, right? And I see that's why you haven't seen as much beef with some of those fellow all-stars.
And secondly, do y'all like this energy from Anthony Edwards? Like, what are y'all's expectations for the Timberwolves next year?
No, I don't like the energy. It was like it was too soft. It was, like, yeah, I would like to play against Golden State. Well, why? Because he talks a lot of trash. Like, what he should have said is like, nah, like, Draymond talks too damn much. It's time to shut up Draymond. Yeah. Like, come on now, give us something. You know what I'm saying? Create it. Like, if we're going to go there, let's go there. He straddled the fence. You can't half-ass it. right? Like Draymond ain't half-assing his trash talk. Draymond ain't half-assing his aggression on the court. So you already losing. Draymond ain't even listening to this. But if he came out, Ashley, and he said, yo, it's time to shut this dude up, old head. You done. Like if he did that, now we up. But he didn't do that. So to me, I don't love it. I didn't respect it.
That's too funny.
I actually liked it, man.
Did you? Yeah.
I actually liked it because I mean, like, we're seeing a different part of him. But I agree with B. Like, he could be a little bit more aggressive. But this season, we've seen him start to step out. The whole situation with the contract and his girl and the dog, and now this. Right. I think he could be more aggressive on court. That first year of Anthony Edwards, when he was dunking on everybody, I guess he started working on his shot or something. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just concerned, of course, for the Timberwolves because of just the way that their starting lineup is configured. I don't know. I wish Anthony Edwards was in a better situation where I think he can, his team can get more out of him, or rather, he can get more out of his team. But, we'll see about that situation. Anything to add here,
you heard his teammate come out and say that he's better than Ashley. What did he say, that he was better than a Joker, or what did Karl Anthony Towns say? So that this team is in good position.
They said that
Pat Bev had said that he was the best center in the league. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that he said that he was and then Kat said that he also changed the game, and that when it's all said and done, he'll go down as one of the best to ever, or something along those lines.
No, it was something.
It was a few things.
He said when he's done, he said people look back at his career and say he changed the game. So you got it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
Well, I also got
I brought that up, Corey, because obviously this team is confident, and I think this can be a team, Ashley, where we're looking at them like, damn, where did they come from next year? There's more parity in all the sports now, NFL and I can't say the NFL because you got Patrick Mahomes and just Joe Burrow right there, and then you have the Eagles. We'll see if they're able to have some sustained success. But in the NBA, it's parity across the board. So they're going to have a chance to be right where they want to be, and that's as champions next year. They're going to have a chance for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this situation. So Jason Tatum, I believe this was at a camp he was kind of participating in.
No, it was the
it was was it a Nike?
It was a camp in St. Louis. I believe it was Nike. It was him, Bradley Beal, and I believe, was it Paulo? I don't know. It was a St. Louis crew. So I know Bradley Beal was there as well.
Right. Well, basically what he did was share his thoughts on load management, right, in the NBA. So I want to throw to this clip, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what he had said.
Man, I don't decide. Shit, we playing the Hornets tonight. I'ma chill. I only get to go to Charlotte 2 times a year. Somebody paid their money to come watch me play. Like, not trying to be arrogant, like it's a bunch of kids in there, my shoes and my jersey. And just because we playing Charlotte on NBA League Pass on a Monday, but ain't nobody watching it, I'm chilling tonight. That's not what the great players, the best players do. So the way y'all compete in the middle, I loved it. Competing, talking, blocking shots, hard fouls, but still being safe. Yeah, that's basketball. But then you can't go on the side basket like, all right, we ain't playing them. They still watching. They still evaluate. They didn't come to see me play. Paolo or Brad, they know what we can do. Y'all the future, y'all next. So just keep that in mind. Like, ranked player, not big game, like, compete, play basketball. Because don't take the for granted.
Don't you wish this mindset would just be consistent across the league, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm glad you started with me. Thank you so much. Right? I love this coming from Jason Tatum. I think he's gained so much more respect from the real ones out there, the Stacks out there, and all the OGs, the Charles Barkleys, the Shaquille O'Neals, the Charles Oakleys of the world. Like, this is as real as it gets, okay? And yes, if more NBA players had this mindset and this approach, Ashley Nicole Moss, then you wouldn't have your in-season tournament. You wouldn't be frustrated and upset with the NBA, trying things and exploring new things and trying to evolve because the product sucks from November, December to February, to hell, even into March. Okay, so if more NBA players had this type of mindset, we wouldn't be seeing the game forcing things like the end tournament season. So the casual NBA fans like myself and 78% of all other Americans, right, will tune in at the beginning of the year and not wait until March, April, in the springtime to actually watch the NBA. Ashley Nicole Moss and her friends and her dad, Mr. Jeff, are the only ones watching basketball in November and December. Check the ratings.
He said check the ratings. Drops mic. All right, Ashley.
One, that's not true. Two is, I know that Brandon thinks that the in-season tournament's going to stop load management. It's not, because if someone's going to load manage, they're not going to not load manage for a tournament that means nothing. We're not talking about the playoffs. We're not talking about the finals. We're not talking about the conference finals. You think Kawhi gives a damn whether or not he gets an in-season tournament trophy and $500,000? He doesn't. He could care less. He couldn't care less, rather. So that's not going to solve the problem. It's just going to make the games seem more entertaining to casual fans, but it's not going to stop players who are not going to play because of load management from playing. Look, it's just not going to work. But I will say, load management started as a way to preserve your stars. At its core, when used sporadically and when used correctly, I don't have an issue with it. What has happened, though, is load management has become something that is not being used here and there and just being used as an excuse to not play the premier games, not play the marquee games. Oh, we have a back-to-back, not going to play. Like, at its core, it was used throughout the season to preserve your star because the season was so long. Now it's just become an excuse to not play, and that's where it's been taken advantage of. The ideology behind it has been taken advantage of. So I will say that I disagree with what it has become. I don't necessarily disagree with what it initially was supposed to be. I will say, though, that, you know, Jason Tatum comes from the school of Kobe Bryant. You know, that was one of his mentors. That was one of his idols. And Kobe famously said, well, Vanessa actually said at his memorial service, when she would ask him, you know, why are you going to play today's game? And he was covered in ice and he had all these, you know, bumps and bruises and pains. He said the same thing that Jason Tatum just reiterated. You know, there's a kid there who spent all their money to come see me play. It's my responsibility to play. So, in that regard, I love what he said. I think it's funny that Charlotte caught a stray twice. Like, they're out there minding their business, and it's like, I'm not, you think just because we're playing Charlotte, I'm not going to play? Like, damn, Charlotte's like, what the hell did I do? Like, I'm here minding my business. I think that the NBA needs to figure out a way to bring load management back to what it was supposed to be, and that's a last resort. There needs to be a way to put stipulations and regulations on load management where you don't have a single player sitting out an entire week because of load management. We're not talking about players sitting out back-to-backs or long road trips where they may have sustained a little bit of a tweak in the first game, and now, you know, the second game we're just going to play them. We're talking about guys who, my arm hurts, my back hurts, my allergies are bothering me, I didn't get enough sleep last night, my stomach hurts, I'm sneezing, and it's like, oh, we're going to load manage him. That's insane. Yeah. It's just become an excuse. It's become the go-to excuse when you don't want to play for whatever reason. We're going to load manage. And that's where the problem lies, and that's where the NBA needs to figure out how to fix this and bring it back to what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well said.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to move on. But, Brandon, we actually got a fan question that is for you. This is from J. Payne Golf. And, you know, we were talking about trash talking a little while ago. J. Payne Golf asked, B. Marsh, was there ever a DB that got into your head with trash talk?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll say, who's the DB?
A couple, I would say. And that's rare for me. Like, we were talking about Draymond earlier, right? Like, I was the opposite of Draymond, right? Like, I didn't want to talk because I didn't want to put out the energy of, like, bro, like, it's so hard to go 70 plays and run full speed every single one of them, and maybe you get 2 to 3 plays off as a starting wide receiver, right? So now, jogging back to the huddle, I'm yipping and yapping with you, that's taking energy, bro. I ain't got time for that. And then there's extra shoving, and then there's guys that, when you start talking trash, and this is what I absolutely hated about the game. Like, I go down, and now there's 2-3 other dudes. They call this topping off. They come down, I want to power hit you, put the helmet into your back or in your legs. That's what hurt. Yeah, they call it topping off.
They call it what?
Pause.
Is that a pause?
Let's back that up.
I mean, it might have been so bad. You should have seen Ashley's reaction. That might have been a major pause the way she looked.
I said no because that's not what I expected it to be called. I said, wait, what?
It's called what?
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt there.
What happens?
Wait, what is happening? Where did this conversation just go? Okay, sorry. So that took me by surprise, and I'm not like somebody who plays that game.
Yeah, so you lost it. So go back to when you said when you go down and then somebody else comes in and
they start topping off.
Yeah, so start there and then continue on with the story.
Top off happen when you talk trash on the football field. That's the type of top off that you don't want.
Yo, that's funny.
You gotta change some of these names, man.
Right? What is wrong with you, Ashley?
Honestly, like if it got me, it was enough to be like, huh? Because I don't play that game. But that Corey saw my face in the studio. I literally looked up and said, what?
Oh, my light went out. Hold on 1 second, guys. My light is flickering. Let's get back to it. So hold on. So here's what I would say while I'm in the dark.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers, Darkness Retreat. Go ahead.
Right.
Ooh, nice.
So yes, there was a few that got me off my game, right? Because they took it personal. Like when you start talking about my wife or certain things on the field, like that like the game stops for me. Like literally you could be on the other side of the field and I'm on one side and I might have to do something, have assignment on this side. I'll tell my quarterback, I used to tell Jay Cutler, this play don't even look at me. I'm running all the way over there and I'm trying to take this dude's head off, right? And so some of these dudes, like Al Harris was a guy at the beginning of my career playing for the Denver Broncos where he was just a man's man. I came out there playing games, trying to talk trash a little bit before the game. And right before the game, we're head to head, pause, head to head, and then 10 seconds into this exchange, he has his hand around my throat, right?
Oh, no.
And so we had to battle that whole game. Thank you for the light. Another one was Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman wanted to, there's rules to warm-ups. They have their side, we have our side, right? And Seattle came to Chicago, all right? And so home team, we decide where we want to warm up. So we're on the north side, and Richard Sherman decides to come to the north side and warm up in between our routes. I respectfully go up to Richard Sherman like, bro, you're supposed to be on the other side of the field. And he looks at me, takes his headphones off and starts like going crazy. I'm like, bro, you got the wrong one. Me and him got into this real heated exchange where it almost got physical, and Coach Pete Carroll had to come and separate us. And then that whole game, we going at it. I gave him 160-something yards, 2 touchdowns, I believe, 10 catches. We lost the game. So he ultimately he still won. But it wasn't because of him. It wasn't because of the Legion of Boom. You know who was why they won? Russell Wilson, his first year. Mr. Comeback himself. Yes, the most winningest quarterback through 10 years. Keep telling y'all this. This was his welcome to the NFL moment. Come into Soldier Field against that defense. Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher, Julius Peppers, Charles Peanut Tillman, Big Izzy, Tim. Come on, you kidding me? And he goes out there, Ashley Nicole Marsh. Y'all better put respect on his name. Y'all must have forgot who this dude is. And we got Sean Payton. We're going to talk about his remarks and why he said what he said. Coming here soon. I'm on a little bit of a rant here, but I'm going to show my guys some love. Yes, I do like Russell Wilson because I saw it up close and personal. And then the last guy I would say was probably Antonio Cromartie, but I won't get into that exchange. That was kind of funny. And that's one of my ultimate teammates and one of my ultimate competitors. We pushed each other.
Yeah. All right, well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and him restructuring his deal with the Jets. We're going to talk about Colts owner Jim Irsay saying that it's inappropriate, basically, for the running backs wanting to renegotiate a new CBA. And what was
Are we talking about Sean Payton?
Yeah, I was going to end with that, and we're going to talk about Sean Payton, right? And him basically just firing off on the Denver Broncos old coaching staff. So we'll hit all of those when we come right back.
Are you the best defensive player, or are you the best player to ever play football?
I'm not saying I'm the best player to ever play football.
What about defense?
Am I the best defensive player? Okay. If not, who?
Brandon?
Reggie White. Reggie White's a great player, and I put him up there in the same class as myself. Every time I walk into a room, or I pick up a paper or something, it's LT, hey, I see an article, they talk about all these people, and then always at the last, my name always shows up in the last sentence of the last paragraph, just before they say greatest of all time. Okay.
Hey, do you think you could have played in this era?
Yeah, if I didn't want a paycheck, yeah. Kick me out of the game every week. Now, but yeah, I can play in an era. I think I can. I mean, I am rugged enough to play in this era. I don't know. That's a hard question, man.
Could you have cleaned your game up though? The violence, the
it was
aggression.
clean. That was clean as I could get it. I was clean.
Then you can't play in this era.
It might be a problem. I may have to play a different position. Maybe have to move to the inside. Yeah. Where it was.
Hello, everyone. It's the Ashley Show, in case you didn't know. Corey's in the bathroom. I think he got lost. Brandon's in the dark, like Aaron Rodgers. Corey, do not walk in front of this camera. I swear I will kick you. Corey is crawling at my feet right now.
I thought it was going to be the Ash and Andrew show.
I was going to get to you, but Corey interrupted me crawling down my feet. But you know what? That's actually like what I like a man to do, crawl at my feet. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
That's exactly how I like it. Bow down to me.
Where's the grass? Let me get the grass.
Get me some grapes, Corey, please. I'm kidding. We are back.
The Mad Dog channel anymore. Talk about these things.
That's too funny.
We are back, and Corey, I know you had a topic you wanted to touch before we rounded out the show with what Sean Payton had to say. So where do you want to take us now?
So we're going to talk Aaron Rodgers. So he and the Jets agreed to a restructured deal worth $75 million over the next 2 years. Now that contract is fully guaranteed, but he will be taking a pay cut of almost $35 million over the next 2 seasons. Rodgers was set to make close to $110 million in guarantees in his previous contract. So, with this new contract, it's obviously, providing a lot of financial flexibility for the Jets over the next 2 years. But how significant of a move was this, Brandon, by Aaron Rodgers to construct, like I said earlier, a team-friendly deal with the Jets?
This is a major move. This is a historical move. And I'm going to be honest, right? Like, one of the things that you can't do, and we talk about this a lot, especially in our community, is don't count another man's chips. Don't get your hand out of another man's pocket, right? So I've never really talked about this publicly, as far as quarterbacks doing this. But what we see is quarterbacks make up 20% to sometimes 22% of a team's total salary cap. That's a lot of bread to one position. Historically, right, when guys come off of their rookie deals and they get their big deals, they stop losing, right? They stop winning. Why? Or they're not winning at that level because they don't have the resources necessary to keep those superstars around. You're going to see this with the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, he's coming off his rookie deal. You got these guys coming out making $52 million, $52.5 million a year, new money for Justin Herbert. What is Joe Burrow going to get, right? And with that being said, are they going to be able to sign T. Higgins and keep him? Probably not. They'll keep Jamar Chase for sure, but then you got T. Higgins, you got Jamar Chase, you got offensive linemen. You just saw your running back have to take a pay cut, a 50% pay cut. Joe Mixon coming off of 1,200 rushing yards. So this is a big deal because guys like this, the Tom Brady's of the world, the Peyton Mannings of the world, and I've never said this, I've always have made so much money and also making a lot of money off the field. And also, you guys are the one position that will always make money if you guys win Super Bowls, if you guys are winners, Hall of Famers. You're always going to make money. Look at Troy Aikman. Look at Tony Romo. Look at Phil Simms. Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady just signed a 10-year, $300 million deal with Fox before he even retired. Dudes are making buku money post-career. So guys like Aaron Rodgers, like, it's a lot of money, but in the end, if you go win another Super Bowl with the Jets, bro, you're going to get that back times 10. So I always felt like this was a smart move for guys in his position, and there's only a few to do it, because now you're able to keep superstars around you, more superstars. So this is huge. Aaron Rodgers, Ashley, has made over $300 million on the field in his career. Aaron Rodgers also is a savvy investor. He's a part of RX3 Growth Capital. They have invested in some major companies. I think he's also a part owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. Aaron Rodgers is savvy. So Aaron Rodgers is going to probably be another athlete on that billion-dollar list when it's all said and done. So I'm not worrying about him, leaving money on the table. I actually think this is going to put more money on his table, because he will deliver the Lombardi Trophy. He will make these Jets fans happy who's been depressed for years and years and years. And what that's going to bring in New York, in the number one media market in the world, is more deals, more visibility, and more opportunities.
Yep. Ashley, do you think this was a move by the Jets to free up some space for Dalvin Cook? Because the latest is that Dalvin Cook is meeting with the Jets this weekend for an official visit.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think that the timing of it is definitely intriguing. The timing of it is definitely coincidental.
Yeah.
If you believe in coincidences when it comes to the sports game. I think it would be a great move for both parties for different reasons. But I think that this just goes to show that Aaron Rodgers, one, is serious about making this team work. And two, I think that he's trying to do things a little bit differently than whatever reputation he amassed the last few seasons in Green Bay, and specifically the last season in Green Bay. When it came to embracing or not embracing the young players that were there, not showing up to OTAs, just kind of going through the motions. It seemed like he was checked out at some points, and, just not being the teammate that he once upon a time was in the Jordy Nelson era and the Devontae Adams era. I think that he's doing things differently this time around. So not to say that if he didn't restructure his deal that he would be a bad teammate, that he couldn't do that. I think this is just another level of showing that he wants to be different this time around, and that he wants to make this situation work. So it's definitely interesting for sure.
And Ashley, also, it's just like, good for him for being in a really strong financial situation, right? Super blessed. But it also shows that he really wants to win a Super Bowl. And he's willing to take a $35 million pay cut. He was due to make $108 million over the next 2 years. Now he's bringing in 75. Man, it's going to be cool to see what the Jets do with all this extra capital. Yeah. So it just highlights that this dude is really locked into delivering a Lombardi Trophy, solidifying his legacy. Listen, I'm cool with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has blessed me a few times over the last year, just giving me time to sit down with him, interview him, and he doesn't do that for anybody outside of Pat McAfee. But I've been one that's been critical as well about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I feel like they have underperformed. They have wasted they've wasted Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. What, he's there for 17 years, and you deliver one Lombardi Trophy back to the home of the Lombardi Trophy? Are you kidding me? Before Patrick Mahomes, there was no conversation of who was the best thrower of the football ever. Now there's some competition there, but we're talking about one of the probably the most talented quarterback the game has ever seen. Now, I do believe Patrick Mahomes will probably surpass Aaron Rodgers if he stays on this trajectory. But right now, Aaron Rodgers There's nothing like Aaron Rodgers. I told y'all this story, right? Like, saw this dude throw a no-look pass, a 40-yard no-look pass to the right. Like, I've never seen anybody do that. We've seen Patrick Mahomes, even Ryan Fitzpatrick, Matthew Stafford throw some 20-yard in cuts or some slant routes or some shallow routes, right? No look, but never a dude throw a go ball, no look go ball on the money, on the dime. Never seen that. This dude is that. So this wellness retreat, this darkness retreat, the ayahuasca, whatever they call it, like, yo, we probably may see one of the greatest years ever from a team and a quarterback. The Jets, y'all better put respect on the Jets' name. I got the Jets coming out of the AFC.
Hey, you heard the man. All right, moving on, guys. Colts owner Jim Irsay had a interesting statement. He made an interesting statement, rather. Some may call it bold. But this is what he said in regards to the running back market. He said, NFL running back situation. We have negotiated a CBA that took years of effort and hard work and compromise in good faith by both sides. To now say that a specific player category wants another negotiation after the fact is inappropriate. Some agents are selling bad faith. So yeah, you guys just hop in on this one. I mean,
yes and no. Yes and no. When Brandon and I had this conversation, when we were both in the studio, I believe this was last week, I said when I was on radio and the CBA first was proposed and it went through the voting process and around 500 players did not even bother to cast a vote, I remember specifically saying, whatever the outcome is, you do not have the right to be upset because you did not make your voice, you did not make your choice heard. Yep. So with him saying that, you know, a certain position is unhappy with how the CBA is benefiting them or not benefiting them, that's absolutely right. Because I guarantee that in the handful of those players, specifically running backs, I can guarantee you a handful of them did not even bother to vote on the new CBA. Yep. So while I can understand how it is frustrating about how running backs are treated, and I'm not saying that how they have been treated and disregarded in the NFL is correct. Definitely not saying that. I believe they're an intricate part of the offense. As a Cowboys fan, they have been an intricate part of my offense for my entire existence. But you do not have the right to complain about something that you did not care enough to cast the vote about. And the owners know, and Brandon and I spoke about this, I said the reason that the MLB and the NBA get things done is because those players stick together. They move as a unit. And the NFL has constantly fallen short when it comes to moving as a unit. It seems like it's every guy for themselves, and if it's not every guy for themselves, it's a small group of guys who stick together. Other guys have to be paid to support. Other guys have to be pushed to support. Other guys, listen, as long as I get paid and my family's taken care of, it's not my problem. And this is the result of that mindset. This is the result of saying it doesn't affect me, it's not my problem.
Right. Let's throw that graphic back up there. Well said, Ashley. You know, first off, shout out to The Athletic. A lot of the information, you know, that I consume when it comes to sports is from The Athletic. I love what they've been doing over the last couple of years. Absolutely love the men and women reporters, journalists, you know, that's on the beat, you know, covering, you know, our major sports across the globe and also our games. So, shout out to another great article here. There's two articles actually that I saw. There's this one and there's an old one from last year or maybe this February where they broke down just the history of the CBA, the history, of the franchise tag. Now, I'll be quick here because I've talked about this several times and I think most recently this week. All right. The franchise tag was created in 1993. We were approaching our fourth collective bargaining agreement. Okay, some of this information I got from another article from The Athletic. All right, we're approaching our fourth CBA. Players, our association that you were just talking about, Ashley, wanted to introduce free agency. What ended up happening was Pat Bowlen, rest in peace, the then owner of the Denver Broncos, phenomenal owner, jumped on his private plane right out of Aurora, Colorado, and flew to probably Teterboro, if Teterboro existed, okay, in 1993. Fact check that for me, Woo. Landed in Teterboro. That's right outside. That's in Jersey. Probably took the Holland Tunnel or maybe the Lincoln Tunnel. Maybe he went over to George Washington Bridge. Hell, I don't know. But he made his way to Park Avenue, okay, the NFL headquarters. Stormed into office and said, listen, I am not signing the CBA because I'm not losing John Elway. So this franchise tag is actually nicknamed the Elway Rule. Initially, okay, and again, I repeat, I've been saying this for a few months. Initially, this Elway Rule, this franchise tag was created so organizations can have more time to negotiate long-term deals with the franchise players in the star players. Fast forward 15, 20 years, they have taken this franchise tag, flipped it on his head, and used it, and is now using it as leverage to keep guys on short-term deals. So if production slips or if they get injured, they no longer have to invest in them. So, Mr. Irsay, when you say this is bad faith, I will push back and say that the way you guys have been operating over the last 15 years around these tags are bad faith. Because in business, when we say good faith, what we're saying is there's nothing on paper. There's no contract. Bro, I'm going to look you man to man. I'm going to look you woman to woman, eye to eye, and say in good faith, we will get this deal done, and a deal that is good for you and is good for me. That is a good deal. That is a fair deal. So this whole narrative around a market, this is what the market is and the value of a running back is totally false. There is no running back market. You guys control the running back market. The true running back market will be determined if the Saquon Barkleys or the Josh Jacobs hit free agency. They are not allowed to hit free agency. You guys control that. Off of this tag, the Elway Rule. Because if they hit the franchise tag, if they hit the free market, guess what would have happened? Saquon Barkley would have got a deal that he would have been celebrating with his family. He would have went to some restaurant in New York and they would have been celebrating a deal that he was proud of. He may have not reset the running back market, but he probably would have got 14, maybe even got $15 million a year. Same thing with Josh Jacobs. Because there's always one or two teams that's desperate. And that's what my agent used to always tell me. It only takes one team, bro. I can assure you that there would have been one team out there that would have gave Saquon Barkley a really good deal. And that would have been a free market. And that would have actually established the true value of today's running back. But because they control the market with this franchise tag, we don't even know the true value of the running back market. This is collusion. These are the owners devaluing this position by using this franchise tag. The franchise tag has no place in our game. Again, the franchise tag has no place in the game because it's not in good faith. So the last thing I would say is this. It's not about the running back. It's not about any position. It's about this damn franchise tag that is not good business. Point blank, period.
Now, how do you feel if you're a running back, John Taylor, right, who's been a running back that has kind of voiced his opinion on just the whole situation itself, and your owner, you know, is the first owner really to step out and kind of speak on the situation? Are you rubbed the wrong way if you're John Taylor?
Hell yeah. Sorry to hijack this conversation, Ashley. You know,
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
Passionate about the CBA, super passionate about this franchise tag, super passionate about this conversation about the running backs. I talked to a high-ranking official, super powerful in the NFL about some other things, and they asked me before we got off the call, how do you feel about the running back market? What's going on there? What's your thoughts there? And I said, listen, I can understand that the game has evolved, and I understand that nowadays you have to be an Alvin Kamara or a Christian McCaffrey to get your money. I get that. The problem is not that. The problem is more so this tag, right? So I'm always going to come from a player's perspective. I'm a player, and I'm always going to put the player first, but I'm always going to keep it real as well because it is business. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm doing exactly what I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, Corey.
Yep.
No, you're not going to run me 25 times. This is the position, and you hear running backs coming out saying this. We're the only position, the more production that we have, the more production that we have equals more wear and tear, and it actually is counterproductive for us. We get back to the table with more production and more wear and tear, and you guys say, oh, that's why we can't pay you. So I'm going in and saying, no, I'm only toting the ball 12 to 15 times a game. You can put me in a slot. You can give me a bigger package in a pass game, but we're not doing that. And then also, I won't respect it. Guys are looking and paying attention to some of these owners and how they're operating. The same thing with the Giants and Saquon. Saquon Barkley has power in that locker room. So you mean to tell me some of these guys that are on rookie deals aren't looking at this and saying, damn, this is how my owner is treating our guys? Man, some of these guys take it personal. There's still some Stak, some Steven Jacksons out there, Staks out there that's real. There's still guys like that in the locker room that will stand up and say something or push back when it's their time. Like, because you did Saquon like that, this is how I'm going to conduct myself. So guys are definitely taking note.
Yeah. Ashley, anything to add there before we move on?
No, I had my point at the beginning, but I think we can end on Braden's point.
All righty. What's up?
I just want to throw this out. Jonathan Taylor, this is his last year on his contract. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of next season.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. So we'll see. We will see. Listen, Sean Payton had something to say. All right? ABC, throw up that first graphic. So this is what he had said recently to a media personnel. It started with, it doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed, Payton said. And that's what happened here. Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much explicitive time trying to win the offseason. He goes on to say, there's 20 dirty hands for what was allowed, tolerated in the freaking training room, the meeting rooms, the offense. I don't know Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell. He didn't just flip. He still has it. This is BS that hit a wall. Shoot. They couldn't get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball. And then he goes on to say this. This was really where he kind of dropped the bomb on them. That was a message. They can only beat the explicitive out of you so much, but everybody's got a little stink on their hands. It's not just Russell. It was poor. It was a poor offensive line. It might have been the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. Man, what are your thoughts on this, B. Marsh? I mean, did Sean Payton really let the former coaching staff of the Broncos have it here?
I'm still catching my breath from my rant, so I would love to hear Ashley's thoughts first. I need another 45 to 90 seconds. My breath.
There you go.
I think it's fair. It wasn't just Russell Wilson. I know that the quarterback takes all the glory, and the quarterback also takes all the fault. So Russell Wilson was the fun person to blame. Russell Wilson was the biggest name to blame. But you also have to look at, the Broncos as a unit, as a oiled machine or lack thereof. And the team was not constructed correctly for his success. The offensive line was terrible. I agree with that. The coaching staff didn't really seem like they understood the task at hand. And that wasn't just something that was specific to Russell Wilson. There were a lot of players who said that there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of growing pains. There was a lot of shortcomings. There was a lot of things that they feel could have been avoided if there was a little bit more clarity and direction. Now, worst coaching job in history might be a little bit dramatic.
That's a reach, huh?
Because we've seen some really crappy coaching jobs, and I'm sure we haven't seen some really crappy coaching jobs because we weren't alive to see them. But I think if you go down the history books, I don't even think this is top 10. So I get it. You got to defend your QB. You got to go ahead and up yourself up a little bit. But that's a little dramatic. Like I said, the failures of the Denver Broncos last season were beyond Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was an intricate part of it. I don't think that you can forego any fault from him. But he wasn't the sole factor of it. And I think that this will be an interesting season for them because now you've trimmed the fat. You've kind of, got rid of the weak links. And you got the coach that I wanted. You got the coach that a lot of people wanted. You have a Russell Wilson who I believe he's lost maybe about 10 pounds. Is that, if I read that correctly? He's trim, he's slim, he's ready to go. He's
15.
been training. 15, okay.
Oh, he's working.
So he's working. You got healthy players back. If the Broncos can't get it done, and when I say get it done, do I expect this team to win a Super Bowl? No. But this team should be a winning team. They should be a playoff team. And if they are not, then people are going to go back to this quote and say, well, now what, Sean Payton?
Yeah, they might.
So here's what I would say, Ashley. I do love Coach Payton's honesty. It's refreshing. We don't always get this from our players and our coaches, right? We get these stale answers. We get the diplomatic answers, right? The let's not rock the boat answers. So I do like this, and it's refreshing. And I do agree with Coach that it is one of the worst coaching outings that we've ever seen.
Wow,
because
okay.
of numbers.
In history, though?
Because let me tell you why. Okay, you have a top 5 defense, and then on the offensive side, okay, you're known as an offensive guy, and your offense goes out there, and you're last in points, okay, averaging 16 points a game compared to the number 1 offense in the league, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs averaging almost 30 points a game with Russell Wilson. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a problem, okay? And there are other things that transpired, right? So I do agree there. But I also need to make sure that this conversation is balanced because, there's so much more that goes into team sports. Coach said it. There was 20 hands involved probably. There were so many people involved in this. So we can't just blame it all on Coach Hackett, right? You got to look at what else happened last year. The Denver Broncos also had more people on injured reserve than any other team. Their injured reserve accounted for almost $60 million in salary cap. So that puts a team in a tough position to actually go out there and operate at a high level. So there's 14 guys on injured reserve, 8 of whom were starters, and the rest were contributors to special teams. We're talking guys like Tim Patrick. Now, I know Russell personally loved Tim Patrick and potentially was one of his number 1 targets. Their starting running back, they were so excited about, went down before and started. So Tim Patrick and also Javonte Williams both went down before training camp. Those are 2 starters. Their left tackle, Garrett Bowles, went down in training camp or right at the beginning of the season. Bill Turner, their offensive tackle, also went down. Their starting center, Loyal Crushenberry, also went down. And there's other running backs and there's other contributors on the offensive side, obviously defensive side as well, that went down. So that's a big deal when you have so many guys go down. So it's refreshing to hear Coach Payton be so brutally honest. I like it. I wish more athletes, more coaches did it. But there's so much more to this. And there's some people saying Coach Payton should have did it, shouldn't have said this, he shouldn't have said it. Hell, to me, this is him actually pushing back on this narrative and actually continue to clean house within the Broncos, saying, look, get your back. It's not all y'all, right? And I'm tired of people pushing blame on Russell. I'm tired of people pushing blame on the guys that are here. I'm actually going to come out here, take the bullet, and say and deflect it. It's not them. We're moving on. This is how we're going to conduct ourselves. So I think it was a tactic for him to just be himself and be real, but also continue to support his guys and move forward.
But in all of what you said, factual, but you did not put any blame on Russell at all. He was terrible last year.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ashley, no, so sorry. Like maybe it's a mistake. I ain't doing it intentionally.
I was like, I know that's your boy, Brandon, but let's call a spade a spade. He was not good last year.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's talk about it, Ashley. So here's first thing I would say, because I'm always going to have my guys back, right? Think about that. You lose 3 offensive starters up front. That's a problem. The first thing we need to do, rule number 1 on offense, is protect our quarterback. How do you do that? By keeping him upright. That is a problem. The second thing, you lose your safety net in Tim Patrick. You also lose your running game. And then also, if your brother, who I really think he's a phenomenal player, he's older now, but had a phenomenal career, and he's a phenomenal person. Melvin Gordon fumbled 6 times. He fumbled 2-3 times.
I got it.
On the 1 yard line. Hold on 1 second. On the 1 yard line. If he doesn't fumble the ball the way he did, the Denver Broncos are actually sitting at 4-1 or something crazy like that. So there's other things around Russell. Now, when you're paid, when a team goes out there and trade away what they traded for you, and they pay you what they pay you, you have to find a way.
Okay.
Absolutely. Did he stink it up at times? Absolutely. But then there's this whole thing of Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson trying to combine offenses and then go out there with the pressure of, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. Not everybody's going to be Tom Brady. People are saying that Aaron Rodgers may not be able to do what Tom Brady was able to do, leaving the New England Patriots, going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and winning the Super Bowl in year 1. That's extremely hard. So hopefully Russell has corrected what he needed to correct. A little humble pie as well, how he may operate. You know, he coming out, let's ride, Denver Bronco Nation, let's ride. So now everybody's humble. Let's see what happens now.
Okay. We're good then, Corey. We can move on.
That's good? We good now?
We good.
We good.
I had to make sure, because he's always coming down on my QB and how, you got to get the job, but just make sure it's the same energy. We can move it along, Corey.
I got a question, though. Are the Broncos going to be a playoff team? I forget.
Yes.
I don't know if any of you guys said, so you did make
I said it.
Well, it's just funny because I've been following the chat, and people are saying that, we throwing that playoff word around a little too loosely. So they want to know, who are the 7 teams in the AFC actually going to be making the playoffs if we got the Broncos making the playoffs?
Well, let's do this. Let's come up with our list for Monday's show.
Okay.
We'll make that a topic. Throw the graphics up there. We'll have it written in stone, and we'll see who's right come the end of football season.
Our playoff brackets.
7 teams, NFC, 7 teams, AFC to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Then we'll do that for Monday's show.
Ashley, can I give a teaser?
No.
But
we're doing it for Monday's show.
Well, I'm wondering, so it's just going to be like where the playoffs start, or do we actually?
No, just teams, the 7 teams from the NFC, 7 teams from the AFC that we think will be in the playoffs. It doesn't have to be in order. It doesn't have to just the teams.
Well, Ashley said I can't give a teaser, but Ashley already said this in the show, so I'm going to say it again. The Jets are coming out of the AFC.
Okay.
That's all I'll say, and then I'll listen to Ashley. And we'll dive into this on Monday. That's actually going to be a great segment.
I think it is.
Great segment.
See that? Noggin. And that also gives us enough time in the show today to cover this last topic, which I'm very excited to discuss.
What is that?
Well, I sent Corey and JP a story yesterday.
Right. Okay.
That gambling.com.
You sent it to me?
Well, you were busy. That gambling.com has put out their smartest and dumbest NFL fans. And coming in at number 1, Corey, who is it? Who is it, Corey?
So you hater. You said the smartest are actually, you said the dumbest?
Let's go with the dumbest. Who's number 1, Corey? Let the people know.
We got the Giants.
The New York Football Giants.
But this
and
is a double
fans.
whammy. This is a double. This is a double.
Whoa,
yes.
What's that?
Go ahead.
This is a double because she's also a person from New York, so it's like she's calling herself
but
intelligent.
Did that backfire?
I'm just saying, you from New York.
They didn't say New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Well,
They
who's
said
New York fans?
They're from Jersey. They said New York Giant fans.
They from Bed-Stuy and Brooklyn.
New York Giant football fans are the dumbest fans per gambling.com. And I just have to say.
Wow.
What
You know who wasn't on the list? The Dallas Cowboys and their fans.
Well,
Who's the dumbest? Who's the dumbest?
The New York Football Giants are number 1.
Sorry. Who's the smartest? Sorry.
So the smartest, believe it or not, are the Bills and the Browns.
Which is, I don't believe that.
Yeah, which doesn't really make so much sense to me.
Corey,
that doesn't make sense.
Before we dive into the smartest, I do want to say this, right? Like, I can kind of understand how the Giants fell into this position.
Do you?
I had an opportunity to play for both the Jets and the Giants. And the way I'll describe my experiences is
Tell them, Brandon.
The Jets are like a public school, and the Giants are like a private school. And when you think about football, right, we're talking about gladiators, helmets running into each other, 20 miles per hour, right? Like, it's still sophisticated, but it's a brutal sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really match with prep school, private school type stuff. You go to those games, man, and they're there just to be entertained, the way they dress, the way they cheer. Just like they're just there for the show. And so it's a different environment. It's a different experience. I won't call them the dumbest.
I will.
But what I will say is, you know, it's a different experience.
It sounds to me like that's a really nice way of saying they're soft.
Actually, I got a question from BC real quick. Who has won the Super Bowl more recently between the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Jets?
Doesn't matter. 5 is more than 3,
Facts
right?
are facts.
5 is more than 3. Last time I
Facts are
checked,
facts.
right? That's last time I checked, right? 5 is more than 3, right? You all have 3 Super Bowls, right?
Trying to defend themselves.
How many Super Bowls do you have?
Ashley, that was a great. Ashley, don't deflect. That was a great question.
No, I'm just curious. How many Super Bowls do you guys have? 3, 4? How many?
No, Ashley.
We got 4.
4? Oh, last time I checked, 5 is more than 4, right, Corey?
I'd agree.
We've won one in every decade.
5 is more than 4, though, right? Last time I checked.
Concede, Ashley. Concede.
Right? I won't concede. 5 is more than 4.
When did you last win? The Arlington Cowboys. When did you guys last win?
Doesn't matter. We got 5 of the Lombardi sitting at the Star right now. Just saying. And you know what?
You're just going on your 30 years.
If we're going to be honest, Woo, I can't even have this conversation with you because we're not on the same wave of intelligence per gambling.com. So I just feel like
you're a New Yorker.
We're going around in circles here. I don't even feel like you have the gravitas to have this conversation with me.
Just know,
that word.
Between you and Corey, you guys are going to reach a century of losing.
That's
all
not
I want to say.
Why Corey catch a stray? Why Corey catch a stray?
Dolphins ain't in this conversation.
He always catch a stray.
We status quo. You know what I'm saying?
Like the 50 Cent meme. Why am I in it? I didn't even do nothing. Why did you throw Corey in the cut? That's messed up.
Wait.
Listen, all I know is 5 is more than 4.
What you putting that tea today, Ashley?
All I know is 5 is more than 4. Woo, unfortunately, BC, unfortunately, they do not have the gravitas or the IQ to have this conversation with me per gambling.com. I'm not going to put them on the spot like that. You know, maybe you can recruit Brandon to help you. He played there for like a hot second.
I mean, yeah, but you know,
but even Brandon knows better.
Work on this
even Brandon knows better than to try to defend.
Even
Brandon knows better than to try to defend y'all. You know, he's not going to use his one of his many cards on y'all. Like it's just not going to work.
Dolphins? Talking about the Dolphins?
No, the Giants.
Oh, the Giants. Yeah, no. I can't do that. I can't. You know.
Yeah.
I'm already. You know, I go out there. You know, on a limb. You know, on these basketball takes, I can't do that in football.
Sorry, Woo.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry, Woo.
Sorry about that.
Man.
Well, that's our show.
That's the show.
Yeah, so you want to close this out?
Listen, Corey, as a smart football fan, you go ahead and close the show out.
Alrighty. Well, Dolphin fans, we're on top because we weren't included in this conversation. And that's another week of Paper Route. We will be glad to bring the show back next week and have fun with you guys next week. So that is it.
Love.